Okay, so what I want to do is a little video all about the ramp. Okay, I'm just going to use it on a sphere. What I can do here is if I go in and I grab this object and let's add a favorite material. I'll just use a blend for example's sake. And on the blend, we'll go over here to color, and I can go in and I can use a ramp 2D texture. Okay, and it defaults to this, and I'm just going to hit 6 to show the texture on this, and it puts this little black thing down here. I've been using Maya since the beginning, and in the beginning it used to come in as a rainbow. Replace! Okay, there's the rainbow. They still have it. It's kind of hidden. And actually, notice on the icon they use this when I went in here to create a material or create a texture. They had that for the icon, but it's black and white now. Anyway, you can take these sliders and you can move them around, these little gradient lines, okay, and adjust them. You'll see that the selected color keeps changing as I select these, grabbing the little dot on top, moving them. Okay, and you can animate those selected positions. You can right click and you can set keys on these. Okay, I can go in here, maybe make this one kind of, let's go and make that kind of creamy. Okay, there. And still red, but it's creamy colored. And I'll go and take that one and make it black, and I can bring this up. You see me do this silly trick quite a bit. This is like one of the oldest tricks in the book with the ramp. If you want to make new ramp gradient lines, you just click in here and it'll create new gradient lines. You can adjust them, change their color. Okay, and if you create too many, you can hit the little X on the bottom and that deletes them. You want to see it big? There. Okay. You can change how the lines blend. Okay. And you can also go in here and if you take this as a selected color, you'll notice that there's a little mapping button, and I can map that with something, and maybe I'm going to go and map it with noise. Noise! Okay. And when I map it with noise, you can see that this gives me a kind of almost an irisy type look. I can play with the frequency ratio. I could go and play with implode. Actually, implode won't work so well on this one, I don't think. Okay, and I'm going to go down here a bit further. I didn't really want to show too much of the noise, except for the fact that you can go into the color balance and change the color of this. So maybe I'll pick some kind of... There, oh yeah. And then I'll go and change the color of that. Ooh. Okay, maybe those don't blend so well together. Maybe that wasn't a good choice. Maybe I'll go back here, I'll do this, and I'll take this one and make it kind of dark. Okay, great. I'd have to render it out, too, to check and see what it really looks like. But there you have it. So, and I'll just hit this little arrow here, and I can go back. And maybe I'll just open up my Hypershade here for a second. And... again, this occupies way too much visual real estate, and if I take my object and I hit this graph button right here, I can go in and I can see the little shader group I've got. I've got the blend. I can see this little node here is connecting my ramp out color to my color here. Okay, great. You can see that the noise is actually going into one of the gradient lines. Here, one of the color entry list. I should give it an official name because I don't know if they have official names that I've ever really used. Okay, so that's kind of cool. You can kind of make eyeballs. Something else you can do here. Let's see if I take this and I right click and I go into the... where is my attribute editor? Behind here? Of course. I hate how they don't pop forward anymore. It's really annoying. I could go in and put another one of these little gradient lines in here, and I could take this noise and I can middle click drag over and pop it on. So now it's actually entered twice and I've got a bit of a clearer texture and it doesn't blend into that black quite so much. Okay, so I can put this closer. Okay. And also too, let's close this down. I should also point out for things like this, right? If maybe I got into this and, whoa, that would be fun to animate that. You can actually select that and go into the selected position, and you can put that onto a set-driven key. Oh, come on. There's got to be a way to do that. Anyway, this selected position, there is a way. If you can keyframe it, there's a way to go and stick it onto the set-driven key. Okay, and so there's one thing you can do with a ramp that's kind of interesting. Also, if I go over here to, let's create something else, and let's create a cube. Let's bring my cube over here. And what are my UVs looking like on my cube? They're kind of probably boring and defaulty. What if I took all my edges and I cut them? So I just go cut, and then I went over modify, and what the hell am I looking for? There's way too many options in here. And I am looking for, well, normalize won't do what I want. It fits there. I want the distribute channels, blah, 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 blah. Unfold, no, 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 no. Unitize. There we go. So unitize has just made it so each one of the squares fits directly on top of this. And okay, so it'll look potentially interesting when I do this. Okay, so let's take this. And I'm going to go and put a new material on here, new blend. And I'll go over and color. I'll flip in and I'm going to look for that ramp. There it is. Dook. And you can see it's doing its thing. I'll just go to preset rainbow, replace. Okay, and I skipped over this, but there's V ramps and there's U ramps. V ramp is a vertical ramp. Okay, it's changing from bottom to top. A U ramp is unilateral, and it's going from side to side. Okay, there's a diagonal ramp. If you want to, you can just rotate your UVs too, but originally this was designed for NURBS. Okay, and NURBS had a different way of texturing. There's a radial ramp, so it goes kind of from the center and goes around, and you can create something new in here, and I don't know, make some kind of purpley one in there too and mix them in. That one never comes up as something I'd use. I kind of like the circular one. Okay, do funny things with the circular one. And don't forget, you can take your Place 2D texture node, take this thing, and you can repeat it. 10, tab 10. Okay, that's kind of fun. Okay, and I can do a box ramp. That does something interesting too. Okay, it's tiling over and over and over again, but it's a box instead of a circle. There's the UV ramp. I still don't get this one. I think I read through it a long time ago and I never use it. Four corner ramp. Eh. Okay, and then there's the tartan. Well, that's great. Kind of hard to see here. It gets a little bit washed out after I do that repeating thing. If I go back into the blend, I do believe if I go in here to hardware texturing and I switch from default to highest, is that going to give me anything? No. Global settings. No, I don't think that's going to fix it anymore. No, okay, it doesn't look like it. I seem to remember you could fix that. It's probably like some kind of render thing. If I go in and I render it right now, and I got V-Ray problems. God damn it. Freaking license. Okay, is that still buzzing? Oh, I did this in the middle of a demo. I shouldn't have actually hit the render button. Got the spinning wheel of death, and it's just going to stay here for a while. Let's go back, and I'm going to just undo this and put that to 1, tab 1, enter. And when I'm looking at this tartan, actually let's go and switch to the circle for this. You've also got these V waves and U waves, and you can put these waves and distort what's going on. Don't forget you can keyframe these too, set keys, create expressions. Okay, and then you can play with noise. Whoop. You can animate all this stuff. You can play with your noise frequency. That just makes the noise bigger and smaller. Okay, there you have it. Anything else you want to do with this? And if I take this, something else I really like to do with this thing. Let's take these colors. I'll get rid of this. I'll take this one and I'm going to make this one, oh crap. I'm going to make this one black. Let's take this one and make it black. Let's take this one. Oh, this is so cool. I'll make it white. Okay, and I can make another white one, say here. Take this black one, bring it over here like this. Okay. And what I might do is, let's see if I can go here to my render settings. Will that open up? It will. I'm in V-Ray. This is a real drag. That doesn't work. What if I go to Arnold? And I'm in Arnold. And I'm just going to see how Arnold likes this. So if I go into Arnold here, and I have to put on a light, don't I? Actually, let's just go and flip into the software render just to give a quick demo of this. And if I hit the render button, okay, there's my software doing its thing. Really boring looking. And I'm going to go over into the Hypershade. And I'm going to just take this thing and I'm going to hit the double arrow here so you can kind of see this. It'll show up in here. That shows the input and output connections of the selected material I just grabbed. And the attribute editor is back here. So there's the blend. And maybe instead of hooking it up to color, I'm going to break that connection. I'm going to hook it up to the bump. Actually, let's do it this way. So we're in here. Oh, I hear growly dogs. If I go to the camera bump, I can take this as an alpha. Doop. You bastard. Take this. Whoop. And that doesn't want to fly. Okay, fine. That's what I hate about this thing. If I go in here and I middle click, I can take this and drop it into the bump map, and then it hooks it up to the camera normal. Why didn't it do that? Out normal. Out alpha, need to create the bump 2D. Okay, fine. So, let's take a look again now when I go in here and I render. Boop. Okay, so I can get this cool kind of bump out of it. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll take this this ramp here. Now you can take these colors and you can make them, you know, you can take the black and you can bring this up so it's more of a middle gray, and so then it won't go so deep. You can take the white and you can make that kind of middle gray. Okay. Okay, so you can do it that way. Here, I'm just going to undo that. Come on, let me undo. There we go. And the other thing I can do is I can go into the color balance of the attribute here, and I can bring down the overall whiteness of it here and the blackness of it here, so that'll make it fade out as well. Actually, though, this is probably taking information out from the alpha, so I've got to go in here to the alpha gain instead. I'm going to bring this down to, say, 0.5 something. And I'll bring this close to something like that, and you'll see that'll actually make it fade out. So now when I render, you liar! Okay, maybe I'll go to the bump 2D as well and play with the bump depth. Drag this way down. There. See how that looks? So it's very faint. And sometimes I'll do this on mirrors and things like that, so I get this little speck distortion from the ramp. It'll kind of break up a window pane of glass or something, and maybe I'll bring the frequency down like this instead of linear. Let's go in smooth. And I might have to go and make this even more subtle, but let's go and see what this looks like now. There, you're starting to see just barely little bits of it. And again, I can go back to the bump 2D. Let's pull this down. I'm holding down control and I'm clicking in here, and that makes it into a virtual slider. So you can just get very subtle bump, and that's too subtle. Bring it back up to 0.03. Okay, and you just start to pick that out just barely there. And I think, what else can I do with this? If I ever wanted to, if I had a, let's see, I played this one into a bump. What if I go back over here for a second, and I grab the blend, and let's break that bump off of here. I can go back to the color, and what if I went in and I grab the ramp, and I go, okay, let's go and grab that tartan for whatever reason. Okay, and I gotta go to the presets. I like the rainbow. And I thought I just switched this to freaking tartan. Okay, there we go. And if I had this object and the UVs were better, okay, maybe I'll just go in here and hit layout. So they're all laid out. And maybe I'll quickly grab that this ramp again, and I might take this repeat UV and I'll make it, say, 10, tab 10. Okay, great. I can take this and make it into a texture too, a real texture. I can adjust in Photoshop or in Photoshop or Mari or whatever. You can just export it out. if you grab the object and you hold down shift and you select the shader under edit, there's an option here, convert to file texture, and you can pick out the size of it that you want. So 512 is kind of small. 2048 tab 2048 and enter, and then I'll pick out a texture type, and you can pick whatever you want, and you can pick it out from different UV ranges or different UDIM spaces if you want to. And I just hit convert and close, and boom, it has converted it to an image file that you can save and export and all those things. And I think I'm going to stop here.